sell.
All right, cool. So this is kind of an interesting format. We're, kind of be writing the blog. As you can see, there's a little bit of content here, and then there will be an ebook with this little live blog post. So Gabe and I are in San Francisco for Advocamp, and Max and the Sales Hacker crew is at Rainmaker right now with the Sales Loft. So
Max Altschuler, love you, bro.
So we're gonna do quick 6 techniques and tools that you should leverage in your social selling process to create more conversation, right? I think that, people talk about social selling. Really, what's the whole ideology behind social selling, right? We need more conversations. Everything in sales starts with a conversation, ends with a conversation. How can you, in sales leadership or in the weeds, use technologies to help you create more conversation and be more efficient? Gabe?
What's happening, guys? Gabe Villamizar coming at you on demand. San Francisco, the Golden State. We should go to the Warriors game tonight. Warriors play the Jazz, I think, or somebody.
Yeah, but you know what? Steve Curry, I heard that he wants to learn how to social sell, so maybe he teaches.
Anyway, thank you so much for joining us. Let's jump to him. Let's tool number 1.
Perfect. So the first tool that we talk about is Buffer, and what I'll tell you about Buffer is it's for Twitter. It's super easy. It's free. Sales, go get it. Get active on Twitter. Create your profile. But once you're into,
how do you spell Buffer? Like
BUFFER app.com. So the value of Buffer is that you could actually go in there, find RSS feeds for relevant, hot, new content for your industry. So, for example, if you're in sales and you sell a sales product in some shape or form, you can actually pull Sales Hacker's blog feed into your Buffer so that every time they update a post, you can set it to tweet it out. And what happens is, if you're posting relevant content that's the hottest content, buyers are going to share, engage, advocate, and if you're using the right hashtags, that's how you create conversation. And a lot of sales reps do that wrong. They post the wrong content or they post old, crappy content. None of your buyers are ever going to engage with that in a consistent manner, and you're never going to really start conversation. So use that one. The second thing about Buffer is you can use all your analytics. So the ebook that we wrote, it'll go deeper into this, but I just kind of want to highlight that. So using analytics, you'll be able to see which of your posts actually created the most conversation, and that way you can be a lot more efficient moving forward, knowing what to post, how to post it, when to post it, all that good stuff. And the third piece to this is visuals. A lot of sales reps are lazy on Twitter, and they can't figure out why they don't get results. There is a marketing aspect to it. Regardless, I don't care what anybody says. If you want to promote yourself and you want to add value to your audience, you got to make it look like you know what you're doing. And visuals will help you kind of get the competitive advantage and get more people to engage to create more conversations. All right, Gabe, you're next.
Awesome, guys. Jack, epic tool. Huge fan of Buffer app. Give us some tweet loving. All right, next tool is TweetDeck. TweetDeck is free. It's owned by Twitter, and it allows you to see specific columns of any Boolean search you want. For example, you can pull up a specific news feed of anybody mentioning your brand. So at HireVue, anybody mentioning any specific URL, so HireVue.com, anybody misspelling HireVue, HireVue is like, is it H-I-G-H-E-R or is it H-I-R-E, So you can create all the crazy sorts of Boolean searches, okay? So track your competitor, track your competitor's website, track your competitor's hashtags, and track whenever anybody mentions your competitors. So TweetDeck is free, okay? Start with at least a few feeds. Otherwise, if you add a lot, it can get kind of tedious and it might give you a headache. But it's free, okay? It also gives you desktop notifications.
Well, let me add, so the reason that you want to listen to all that is because you're trying to get the competitive advantage, right? That's what we're always trying to do in sales. Mm-hmm. So if there's conversation going on with a potential buyer and your competitor, you need to know that so you can organically get yourself into that conversation, put a strategy around phone, email, and social to get into that conversation, not let them get an easy deal.
Right, and it's all about listening. Listening, gathering data, and then with that data, construct your 3x3. How can you find 3 things about your buyer in 3 minutes or less? About their business, about their industry, and about their personal life. Okay, so this is going to make it very easy and not time consuming. Instead of going to Google, instead of going to all these other websites or other tools, in one easy location, put it in a bookmark, shabam, you're good to go.
Well, I think the hardest part about social selling and why most sales leaders don't want to embrace it is because of the simple fact they think it's just going to take a ton of time, right?
And it looks kind of scary setting it up. It's not. It looks kind of difficult. It's not. I mean, I'm not that smart.
Yeah, he's not that smart.
I'm not. No, but seriously, it's not that difficult. Just be curious about it. Watch a few YouTube videos, and you're good to go.
And read our ebook. But I will tell you that everything on here is to make you more efficient with your social selling process, because you should not be doing anything for more than 45 minutes a day, and you should just add it into your mix, right? Spend 45 minutes, that's it. Use these tools, you'll create more conversations. Moving on, so Crowdfire. Crowdfire app is going to be number 3. Why Crowdfire app is important is because most people that get on Twitter, especially salespeople, do not follow a targeted audience, right? So if you want to go find your buyers, you've got to look for certain hashtags or certain titles. There's a lot of different ways. You can use Twitter search, but Crowdfire will actually find all of that data for you, and then you can follow people up to 200, 300 at a time, I would suggest. So what you're doing is you're actually being proactive versus reactive in your sales process, right? So you're following buyers, you're getting them into your, I call it your social drip campaign or your social value list, and you're connecting with them early and then adding value. And I'm not going to go into that on here because it's not really.
Let me touch on a point on that. So for example, anybody using the hashtag Advocamp, which is Intuitive's hashtag for the conference happening right now at the time we're recording this, is using hashtag Advocamp. Okay, so that way we can, through Crowdfire app, correct me if I'm wrong, you can actually follow everybody that's using that hashtag within so far it's been 99 people, unique people that have used that hashtag. You can follow all 99 in 40 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, if I was a competitor to Advocamp right now, that's what I would be doing, right? I would be
something,
following the hashtag of everybody that's at that conference and following what Advocamp's saying and getting connected with them.
Or if you want to sell something to that audience that's a marketer, that's an Advocamp or a salesperson, then get on Crowdfire. It's powerful, it's cheap, it's free.
Yeah, it's free. It's free, and maybe
desktop app, mobile app.
But then the other thing is you can follow all of your competitors' followers. So if I'm in, I used to work for Acton Software. So if I work in marketing automation, I want to go follow the titles, the executive titles of the decision makers that follow Marketo, right? Because most likely they're either interested in marketing automation, they're in marketing, or they're in the research buying process, because that's kind of the whole idea of social selling, right? Is trying to find your buyers before they even know they're ready to buy. And Crowdfire is really good at helping you do that. Number 4.
Yeah, along the same lines of listening, this is another Google Chrome extension. If you're not on Chrome, you're missing out, leaving money on the table. Don't use Safari, don't use Firefox, don't use anything else. Get on freaking Google Chrome. That's where the money's at. So there's a Google Chrome extension called Rifle by CrowdRiff. It's free, and it works specifically on Twitter. Once you install it, which is free, like I mentioned, then you're going to see and scan. Let's say I go to Jack Hazakowski 1, his Twitter profile, and I click on the little icon for Rifle by CrowdRiff. Then I can see a snapshot of everything that Jack's interested about. What platform does he use to tweet? What phone does he use to tweet? What days and times do you tweet the most? So that way I can say, okay, if you're engaged the most on a Saturday morning, then I'm going to plan my drip campaign, like you said, on starting on Saturday. Because if I do it at another time, it's not going to be as effective. Not just that, but like I mentioned in another video, you can find out who they're talking to, what URLs would like to share the most. If Jack's sharing a lot of Mashable, TechCrunch, and CNET, then I'm going to find content that's going to helpfully sell and educate Jack in order to come across as a thought leader or to add value.
And when he says it's sell conversation, right? Because everything we're doing on social selling, I like to go back to this, is just to create conversation, keep conversation going, build trust, build a digital relationship, and be lead with value versus ask, right? And I won't go into that too much, but we've got phone, we've got email. And a lot of times, whether you want to admit it or not, those are asking tools, right? Those are selling tools. That's great. I think social selling would keep you on the phone more, keep you more engaged on email and more relevant with your messaging. But really, you've got to have more conversations. Stuff your conversation pipeline, all channels, including phone, email. Social's got to be a big piece of this.
There should actually be a measurement. Instead of how many dials per day are you doing, okay? How many conversations? Actually, Box does that very well. I spoke with the SVP of Box, Leslie Young. If you're listening to
Oh
this,
yeah, she's money.
Leslie's awesome. If you haven't heard that, but look her up on LinkedIn or whatever. But she says they stopped measuring dials and they measure connects. So how many conversations are they connecting to?
Well, and I mean, if you think about it, like the one thing Crowd Rifle or Crowd Riff, I use it too. It allows you, it gives you social data on your buyers, right? And I mean, everything.
It's free, dude. It's free.
And if you're a sales leader right now and you don't believe about social selling, I will tell you the number one most powerful thing about social selling is that your sales reps will actually get into conversations at the decision maker level if they're doing it right. They'll lead with value, and all this time that they're spending with below the line with all these people that are never going to buy with these fluffy pipelines, that will stop. You're not going to have as much quantity, and you shouldn't. You'll have a lot more quality at the right person that can make a freaking decision, because that's what it's all about.
That's right.
And then give your sales team actual value tools to give good messaging to the buyer based on what they're interested in, right? What makes them tick, what's valuable to them versus what's valuable to you or the selfish sales rep.
All right, next tool.
The next tool is going to be Hootsuite. So Hootsuite's free as well. I would tell you that if you're in sales, use Hootsuite lightly. It's a pretty heavy tool. It's really a big social media marketing
What does
tool.
it integrate with? Because TweetDeck's only for Twitter, so Hootsuite integrates with
Hootsuite integrates with pretty much every social platform.
Facebook, LinkedIn.
But if you're new to social selling or you're not very advanced, I would say just stick to LinkedIn and Twitter to begin, right? You don't need any other channels. Hootsuite will allow you to post native videos into LinkedIn. This is huge because it's kind of a competitive advantage. If you've got good videos of your company talking about a case study or something like that, like nothing like self-serving, but if it would be valuable to your buyer.
Or company culture videos to show that you're in business, you're a real company, you have awesome culture.
But moral of the story is that if you put in native video, they can click play and watch the video right side of LinkedIn, and I will tell you that has created more conversations for me to get offline with the buyer than anything else. The other thing about Hootsuite is you can also do kind of like with TweetDeck, you can set up from multiple social channels listening, like segmentation. So you could be listening for multiple things at one time in one feed, which I will tell you could take some time to set up. It's not really that hard, but if you set that up and you check it a couple times a day, really is all you need to do, right? Yeah. And you see anything that's a buying trigger or it shows you that you should probably get into a conversation leading with value with a potential buyer. And we don't have time to dig into it all, but there's ways you could set this up to be so efficient that within 5 to 10 minutes a day, you can scan the conversations that are going on in your industry, and your salespeople can figure out who do I need to talk with, and actually get into the right conversations, because I think that's what we're missing in sales. Social is going to give you a little bit of that in your pipeline.
Like, get the freaking information. Like, don't use the same old pitch of like, hey, I want to find out your goals. Hey, I want to help you achieve your goals. Hey, I want all the information is out there. Do your freaking homework. Do your research.
Spend a little time. It's not quantity.
And win.
It's not about quantity. That's the thing is like the SaaS world is like stuff your pipeline with a bunch of fluff. It's not that way. Spend time. Get high fast. Get connected fast with your buyers. Lead with value. Flip that mindset of your buyer to say, wow, that guy's actually or that gal's actually an advocate versus just somebody trying to sell me their product. Nobody wants that. Start taking care of your buyers. Do it right. And honestly, quantity over quality does not mean it takes more time. It actually could take less time if you set up the efficient processes using these social selling tools.
And before I jump on to this next tool, I personally, I think Jack would agree, we don't recommend actually getting all of these at the same time. We're just letting you know what's out there, what we've tested personally, okay, whether in sales or marketing, and what's given us results. So test out one or two to start out with, master that, okay, then build upon that. Don't go out and get all these,
I agree.
It's gonna waste your day. I mean, everyone's gonna hate you for it. You're gonna hate your life. So don't recommend that. So the last one is LinkedIn Sales Navigator, right?
Yeah, I mean that's a no-brainer for the most part.
It's not a $75 a month cost. It's an investment, okay, to close you more deals, to get you closer to identifying. Okay, so a few tips on LinkedIn Sales Navigator. A lot of you are already saying like, well, I have the LinkedIn free version. That the LinkedIn free version of LinkedIn is crowded. It's noisy. You see ads, and there's so many distractions. Okay, so the free version doesn't organize the data. Okay, whereas the LinkedIn Sales Navigator actually organizes the data, allows you to listen, allows you to engage, and allows you to actually start a conversation from LinkedIn and move it from online to offline. Zach loves using that.
You know, what I would say is the real value, and sometimes I don't even think LinkedIn knows the real value of their own product, but the real value of LinkedIn Navigator is to say, hey, you know, I build out a targeted Twitter list, right? I'm listening to my prospects so that I can be more efficient, not have to look at all the crap. I can actually see exactly the prospects or my customers, my buyers are saying, right? Within seconds, you can scan that. With LinkedIn Navigator, what they've actually done is they've done the same thing. It's almost like building a Twitter list, right? Mm-hmm. But it's building a LinkedIn list because we all know that you miss content, or if you've got a lot of connections, you know, it just passes by you. It almost disappears, almost like a tweet. So if you've got both of those organized, you've got your targeted accounts, the contacts in those accounts targeted on Twitter, targeted on LinkedIn Navigator. Really, your social selling process will be so efficient that you'll know all the conversations going on with those accounts. If you've done it right, you won't have a ton of them, right? I think that's where a lot of people go wrong too.
Yeah.
It's like limit your accounts, you know, 10 accounts, 30 contacts. That's all you need, maybe 20. And then every week replace the ones that aren't social, right?
Replenish what the old that you couldn't get a hold of, infuse them with new, and the ones that stuck, keep working those, nurture them, and determine, is this person going to move down the sales funnel? If so, great. If not, don't waste your time. Replace them. Replenish your talent pool, not your talent, your sales, pipeline.
Yeah, and the other thing is that you don't have to have all. You know, I think everybody always says it's like for prospecting, right? Social selling. I'm sorry, I hate to ruin or burst your bubble if you think this is true. Is not for prospecting, right? I mean, yes, there's elements that you can find data and so forth, but like if that was the case, there would be no selling piece, right? It would be a marketing lead generation tool. When I look at social selling and I look at these tools, I'm looking at them, you know, not only to start conversation or to know how to get into the right conversation, but I'm looking at them how to keep the conversation going, because I think in sales we kill ourselves by we have a call, the phone hangs up, and it's 2 weeks till the next meeting, and we've really only maybe connected with one of the decision makers out of the group. How do we stay engaged, get more, build that
top of mind?
Yeah, build that relationship more, leading with value, showing them that we're more than just a sales rep, and do that and triangulate that, right? Because really that whole 2 week process or 1 week, whatever it is, from call to next call is you got to fill those gaps with value, right? You got to stay valuable, you got to stay visible, and you've got to really keep them engaged and keep the excitement going. It's hard to do that with just phone, email. A lot of times, if you go through your sales inbox, right, your email inbox as a sales rep, it's like, you're begging people all the time for something.
Yeah.
And social allows you to quit begging all the time, start giving some value, get offline, kill a sales pitch, right? Show the value from an ROI perspective, and then flip from salesperson to advocate till the next call, go back into sales mode, back into advocate, and then throughout the customer life cycle, paying attention. I mean, there's so many ways you should be using social selling, and it should be from start of the online conversation to the offline revenue close, all the way through the customer life cycle. It never stops, and if you don't want to put in the time, you don't want to spend time being buyer focused, you're probably in the wrong career. And I think that would be a hard reality for a lot of sales reps, but it's the truth. Spend time, show you care, take care of your buyers, spend the time to help them generate more business.